Hello, my dear dreamers, and welcome back to the Atman Self podcast. In today's episode, we'll be diving into the idea that much of what we experience in life is based on acceptance. Not conscious acceptance necessarily, but acceptance of the narratives we're handed throughout our lives. From beliefs like the existence of a soulmate to the idea that suffering is a part of the human condition, it is almost as if we are subscribing to different, say, life programs without even questioning them. But what happens when we wake up and realize we've accepted stories we no longer need or want in our lives? It's like when you sign up for something because you like the story, the marketing, the promise. Maybe someone told you that having a soulmate was essential for your happiness, and you just accepted that without asking, is that what I want? Then you spend time, energy, maybe even years of your life searching for that ideal person, only to later realize, wait a minute, was that even my story?
That realization, Fernanda, is profound. Human beings often accept narratives without reflection, whether they come from family, genetics, culture, or society. You are describing what philosophers like Jean Paul Sartre would call bad faith, when we live inauthentically by conforming to societal pressures rather than following our true desires. Sartre's existentialism invites us to examine whether we are making choices from a place of authentic freedom or merely because we feel like we must.
Right on point, my dear Brahman. It is as if we accept these stories like a subscription to Netflix, for example. You like the trailer, so you hit subscribe, and before you know it, you're binge watching that life, whether it is a narrative of love, success, or even pain and suffering. But at some point, we might realize that we are subscribing to emotions or situations we no longer need or want to, whether it is the story of a perfect partner or the experiencing of suffering, pain, or even illnesses. Once we gain consciousness, we can ask, do I want to keep subscribing to this or to that? And sometimes the answer is, hell no.
That reminds me of a concept from Buddhist philosophy, specifically the idea of samsara. Samsara refers to the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth, where we repeat patterns, sometimes unconsciously, until we become aware of them and decide to break free. In a way, subscribing to certain life narratives without reflection is akin to being trapped in samsara. But with awareness comes the possibility of nirvana, liberation from the cycle.
And that awareness, my dear dreamers and Brahman, is so powerful because it leads us to the second idea I want to explore today, the eternal present. We often forget that the present is the only reality there is. Whatever happened in the past, whatever narrative we subscribe to then, can be changed, not by revisiting the past, but by changing how we accept or reject it right now. The moment we realize this, we see that we've been living in the same reality again and again only because we've chosen to. And here comes the question, does this realization free us or does it trap us in the present forever? I find the eternal now both freeing and a bit frightening. What do you think, Brahman?
The idea of the eternal now finds its roots in many philosophical traditions. In the works of Eckhart Tolle, for example, there is the idea that the present moment is all there ever is. By embracing the now, one frees themselves from the pain of the past and the anxiety of the future. But I understand your sense of it being frightening. It challenges our normal way of thinking. From the perspective of Zen Buddhism, The eternal now is a gift, but only if one can remain fully aware. Otherwise, it can feel like an overwhelming repetition of moments without meaning.
Oh my God, Brahman. Yes, yes. It is like this awareness that we are the creators of our current reality forces us to face our own choices. And there's no escape. That can be intimidated, but it is also freeing when you realize that each moment is a fresh opportunity to create a new one. We get to choose, do I want to keep subscribing to this program, or is it time for me to let it go? To help our dreamers explore this more deeply, I'll recommend a couple of readings that tie in beautifully with these themes. The name of the books will be listed on our blog, which I'll leave the address down here in the description of this episode, so that you can access all the names and all the authors as well. The first one is Being and Nothingness by Jean Paul Sartre, which explores the idea of bad faith, the concept that we often live inauthentic lives by conforming to societal expectations. It challenges us to reflect on whether we are truly free in our own choices. This ties up with the episode number 2 as well, the one about free choice or free will, sorry. The second book is The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, a well known book that discusses how living in the present moment is the key to spiritual enlightenment and freedom from suffering. And the third book is Zen Mind, Beginner's Mind by Shunryu Suzuki, a foundational book in Zen philosophy that emphasizes the beauty of the present moment and how our perception of time shapes our experiences of life. Now, dreamers, as you move through your day, I encourage you to reflect on the stories you've accepted. Are there narratives you are still subscribing to that no longer serve you? Is there a reality you are reliving that you are ready to let go of? Remember, the eternal now is not just a concept, it is your greatest tool for creating the life you want, right here, right now, from now on. And to close today's episode, here's a curious word in a foreign language for you to reflect upon. In Portuguese, which is my mother tongue, the word presente means both gift and present. Isn't that fascinating? Could the present moment be the greatest gift of all? Until next time, dreamers, stay awake to the dream within.
Are we done yet? Because I want to go live my present time.
There she is, Brahman, getting all sassy, Brahman. I'm watching you.